Salut tout le monde, bienvenue au 52e épisode du Fabercast. Je suis votre animateur Faberglass et puis ouais, c'est l'adversaire du podcast cette semaine. Pour être franc avec vous, là, j'ai pas vu ça venir pas en tout. Je suis pas trop au courant de c'est quoi le numéro du podcast, quel épisode on est à chaque semaine. L'affaire que je fais, c'est qu'en allant faire mon montage, je vais voir le numéro de l'épisode d'avant puis ça me dit c'est quoi le numéro de l'épisode de cette semaine. Puis là j'ai vu 52, donc voilà, ça fait un an. Et on fait absolument rien de spécial pour célébrer ça cette semaine. Il n'y a pas de gâteau de fête à rien, pas à tout. On continue le business as usual et on reçoit le Big Cat, Jesse Arnett, qui vient nous faire part de la suite des choses dans son cas parce qu'on sait tous qu'il devait affronter Louis Jourdain. C'est au TKO 49. On a eu un update sur le TKO cette semaine. Toutes les opérations sont remises à l'année 2020. Donc Jesse vient nous faire part de la suite des choses. De que va-t-il faire? Où va-t-il se battre? Contre qui? Comment? Quand? Pourquoi? Avant ça, je voulais vous parler un peu du TKO, dans le fond. Je me sers souvent de l'intro du podcast pour faire ma petite chronique d'actualité MMA québécois. Puis c'est pas mal ça qu'on fait en ce moment parce qu'on a eu des nouvelles du TKO. On a eu des nouvelles de New Era aussi. Donc TKO, tout est remis à l'année 2020. Le TKO 49 ainsi que le TKO 50 qui devait se dérouler le 6 décembre au Centre Vidéotron à Québec. Ça n'aura pas lieu. Pas tout de suite, du moins. Tout est remis à 2020. C'est ce qu'on a appris dans un communiqué de la promotion sur leur page Facebook la semaine dernière. Et puis, c'est pas mal à ça que je m'attendais, pour être franc avec vous. Là, plus le temps avançait, plus j'avais de la difficulté à même me dire que le TKO du mois de décembre allait arriver à Québec. Là. Donc... ça va être intéressant de voir comment TKO va réussir à rebondir en début 2020. Parce que là, c'est absolument confirmé. Ça a été leur pire année ever là, pour la promotion TKO. C'est dégueulasse, toutes les mauvaises choses qui sont arrivées. Pour ce qui est de ce dernier report là, qu'on a appris cette semaine, je pense vraiment que Stéphane a sous-estimé la chose qu'il y a eu. Dans le fond, il a été victime d'embolie pulmonaire. Puis il est allé à l'hôpital, mais seulement que quelques jours. Puis là, il est sorti. Puis quand je lui ai parlé, il m'a dit qu'il était en convalescence pour 10 jours. Puis après, il allait recommencer ses activités. Puis tout. Mais une embolie pulmonaire, c'est quand même un trouble sérieux. D'habitude, le monde, quand ils ont ça, reste bien plus longtemps que 2-3 jours à l'hôpital. Puis Stéphane, on dirait, il a comme, après 2-3 jours, il se sentait mieux. Il a eu son congé. Il dit, oh, ça va bien aller. Je vais prendre un 10 jours. Puis tout va mieux aller. Je pense que de moins bien s'en remettre qu'il pensait, parce que c'est raide un embolie pulmonaire, puis tu te remets pas de ça en 2 semaines de même, puis après t'es top shape. Oui, après 2 semaines, t'as plus de symptômes, tu souffres plus d'embolie pulmonaire en tant que tel, mais t'es quand même pas top shape, tu dois pas être à ton max d'énergie, puis tu dois pas vraiment être en mesure de runner les opérations de la promotion TKO, surtout que c'est vraiment Stéphane qui s'occupe de pas mal tout. Oui, il y a une équipe alentour de lui, mais c'est vraiment une petite équipe pour une promotion d'MMA, et puis c'est majoritairement Stéphane qui run la patente. Je sais pas si vous, aux événements TKO, vous voyez souvent, First Patrick Lono, tout le monde le voit. Faut qu'il présente les combats, il a pas le choix, c'est comme sa job. Donc déjà, lui, il est pas en mesure de faire runner le show pour s'assurer que tout va smooth avec les gars en arrière, la commission, blablabla, blablabla. En même temps qu'annoncer tous les combats, puis toujours être prêt pour annoncer les décisions, faire les entrevues d'après-combat. Donc, oubliez Pat Lono, il y a Andy Poulos aussi qui est là, mais il est toujours occupé que le 5 à chaque fois je le vois aux événements, j'ai jamais la chance d'y parler avant-après, tellement qu'il fait des affaires. Donc non, avec l'équipe que Stéphane a présentement, il peut pas vraiment déléguer, ok les boys, je suis vraiment malade, fait que runner le show pour moi ce soir-là. Il peut pas. Il n'y a pas une assez grosse équipe. Puis en ce moment, avec l'année que la promotion a eu, je pense pas vraiment qu'il peut se payer quelqu'un pour faire ça vraiment non plus, pour être bien honnête avec vous. Donc non, pour ceux qui disent je comprends pas pourquoi qu'ils délèguent de show must go on. Pas vraiment. Puis l'autre affaire qu'il faut que vous compreniez, c'est que TKO est probablement la seule promotion au Canada qui présente 10 à 13, des fois 14 combats professionnels sur une carte en une soirée. Ça arrive pas nulle part ailleurs. Il y a BTC qui font juste du pro. Puis souvent, leurs cartes finissent à, mettons, de 5 à 8 combats là, après les blessures et les choses qui arrivent nécessairement à toutes les cartes. Sinon, les autres promotions, même Unified, qui est probablement le plus gros compétiteur de TKO en termes de qualité au Canada, qui ont un distribution deal, un TV deal avec Fight, le Fight TV, là, l'application, vous pouvez acheter les cartes là-dessus. C'est sûr que c'est pay-per-view, puis ça te coûte genre 35$ par carte, ce qui est pas le cas avec TKO si tu payes l'abonnement de Fight Pass, qui est comme 10$ par mois, 8$ par mois si tu prends par année. T'as le TKO gratuit ainsi que presque toutes les promotions qui existent, dont LFA là, qui vient de signer avec Fight Pass. Ça, c'est extrêmement excitant parce que tous les meilleurs prospects aux États-Unis qui signent avec l'UFC, qui vont aux Contenders, passent souvent par la LFA. Donc, ça va être très intéressant d'écouter ça sur Fight Pass. C'est ça, il y a juste TKO qui présente des cartes énormes de combats professionnels du début à la fin. Et puis, on est comme rendu habitué à ce standard-là. Puis, on dirait que TKO peut plus se permettre de juste présenter une carte de 6-7 combats qui est un peu fall apart avec des match-ups de dernière minute. Puis, pourtant, toutes les autres promotions canadiennes, c'est ça qu'ils font littéralement. Mais TKO est comme habitué à un standard de qualité qu'ils veulent pas comme déroger d'eux. Et puis, oui, en ce moment, c'est vraiment crissement plate pour les combattants, pour tout le monde. Mais, crème, ça peut permettre cette petite pause-là à TKO, tu sais, de regroup, de se remettre de cette année terrible-là, puis de revenir avec la qualité qu'ils nous ont présentée en 2017 puis en 2018, ben, je pense que pour l'instant, c'est un mal pour un bien. Et puis, ça va vraiment être intéressant de voir la suite des choses. T'sais, dans ce cas-là, moi, je suis très excité. En plus, un autre props qu'il faut donner à TKO, c'est que les combattants, présentement, ont une pause là, pour se battre une fois ailleurs avant l'année 2020. Donc, si les fighters qui sont en training camp là, depuis des mois et des mois et des mois pour le TKO 49 qui devait avoir lieu en septembre, puis après en octobre, puis finalement... pas cette année. Donc, les combattants, ils ont une passe, ne peuvent pas se battre au Québec, donc ne peuvent pas se battre pour New Era, là, basically, mais peuvent se battre ailleurs en Ontario pour une autre promotion canadienne ou une promotion américaine d'ici la fin de l'année. Donc, les gars sont déjà en train de se chercher des combats. On a justement Jesse Arnett qu'on a parlé tantôt, que lui, par exemple, son contrat expire là, le 1er décembre, donc va rester dans l'Ouest là, pour le futur, mais c'est déjà trouvé un combat, lui est déjà en training camp depuis des mois, mais est déjà en train de finaliser les choses pour un combat qui est déjà officiel d'ailleurs là, pour le XFCC. Donc, ce qui est intéressant à voir pour la suite des choses avec TKO pour ce qui en est de New Era. Et il va y avoir une carte le 15 décembre à l'Olympia. Ça me fait rire parce que Yann m'a déjà dit drôle de place pour présenter une carte sur l'Olympia. Puis il me dit que c'était parce que c'était dans la semaine. C'est parce que le TKO devait avoir lieu dans la semaine. Finalement, New Era a lieu à l'Olympia le 15 décembre. Donc on allait tester la salle avec TKO. On n'aura pas la chance. On va la tester avec New Era finalement. Supposé avoir 6 combats d'MMA, 6 combats de boxe sur la carte présentement. Je pense qu'on a 2 combats d'annoncés, 2.5 combats d'annoncés. Adam Daichka qui va se battre contre quelqu'un qui est annoncé, là, je sais pas c'est qui, je me rappelle pas trop du nom, là, ça a l'air d'un gros gars cut qui est 1-0 Lucy en boxe. Donc ça, à voir, à suivre. On va sûrement parler à Adam de ce combat-là d'une manière ou d'une autre, anyway. Fait que c'est ça qui arrive. J'ai même un coton ouaté d'Adam en ce moment, checké. Fait que shout out à mon boy. Sinon, il y a Poulain contre Menoche, ça se peut-tu, un combat de boxe? C'est pas trop ma branche, là, mais il me semble que j'ai vu ça passer. Et puis l'autre combat quand je disais 2.5, là, il y a Joe Valley qui est en train de faire ses démarches pour avoir sa licence de boxe et puis il va affronter Alexandre Roberge. Ça pourrait être intéressant comme combat, voir Joe Valley en boxe, Papa Joe Valley. Donc ça et tout, on va sûrement y en parler de ce combat-là si ça s'officialise. Donc on attend toujours les combats d'MMA. Il y a sûrement Mick Dufort qui devrait être sur la carte, il y a sûrement Corinne Laframboise qui devrait être sur la carte. J'ai entendu parler d'autres noms, c'est pas encore officiel cependant, donc je vais pas aller dire un autre tel va se battre sur cette carte-là quand ça se peut que... En tout cas, on le sait pas, on va attendre des annonces officielles dans le cas de New Era, mais il y a une carte le 15 décembre, c'est à l'Olympia, et puis évidemment, on va suivre ça de près. Donc, je pense que c'est tout. Là. On va arrêter de rumble un peu, puis je vais vous laisser écouter l'entrevue avec Jesse Arnett. Ça dure comme 15-20 minutes. Donc, ça va être ça l'épisode-là, à peu près une demi-heure. C'est sûr que si on avait comme des cartes prévues, puis que je pourrais vraiment interviewer beaucoup de combattants, on aurait des épisodes plus longs. Je sais que les épisodes sont quand même courts. Par les temps qui courent, mais regardez, on fait ce qu'on peut avec ce qu'on a. J'aime mieux vous offrir un épisode d'une demi-heure avec une petite entrevue, une petite chronique avant, que rien vous offrir pantoute parce qu'il n'y a pas grand-chose à vous offrir. Donc au moins, je vous donne quelque chose. Fait qu'on se laisse avec Jesse Arnett et puis après ça, ben ça va être la fin. Ciao les amis, puis on se parle une prochaine fois.
We'll just wing it. It's all
Yeah,
good.
yeah, no, I always wing it, man. Always fucking wing it, freestyling. Salut tout le monde! On est de retour cette semaine avec un visage bien connu de tout le monde au Canada. He is the big cat, the motherfucking people's champ, Jesse Arnett. How you doing, my man?
Favor, good to hear you, buddy. Good to see you. I'm doing awesome, man. Fucking been training 5 months now, ready to go. Been ready, staying ready, getting ready.
Yeah, for sure. Now, you were supposed to be involved on the TKO 49 card. We all know what happened as of now. It's gonna be postponed till 2020. You were supposed to fight Louis Jourdain. It's not gonna happen, so I just wanted to know what's your status now? What are you up to?
That was a good fight. I was looking forward to that fight. My regards and blessings go to Stefan Petre. Nobody wants nothing like that to happen. I hope he gets better quick. But at the same time, man, I haven't had a win in 17, 18 months. I need to get active. I'll be fighting December 13th for Darren Cliff up in Grand Prairie, Alberta for excessive force. And I'll be fighting a young kid, 25-year-old Chris Wilson, or Chris Johnson, my bad. Looking forward to that fight for sure. I'm looking forward just to getting back in the cage. It's been too long.
Yeah, for sure. So just to be sure, your TKO contract it expired, right?
Yes, my expires December 1st. So it is what it is. I need to stay busy. I'm lined up right away again in February for the Showdown Series here in Calgary. Unified MMA and Excessive Force MMA are branching a show together. And in March, April, May, whenever, I might just go take Unified Gold too. So I'm going to stay busy. I need to be 16, 17, 18 wins here. That's my goal for the next 6 months.
Yeah, for sure. So as I see, you're kind of looking towards staying in the West to fight. Like, so you got plenty of opportunities back there, so you'll be staying West for your next fights, right?
For now, you know, I'd like that matchup with Jourdain, and it's not out of the question, but I cannot sign any multi-fight deals out there anymore. If we want to go over there and fight, and I got an open-end contract, then we can talk, but I need to fight 4 or 5 times a year at my age. And with the style I'll use moving forward, I still have a few years left, that's for sure.
Cool. So now we all know what happened in your last fight. It didn't go your way for like 2 fights in a row. You got knocked out. So I just wanted to know, like, what can we expect different in the Big Cat? Because I know, man, you're always like training, always looking forward to like change your style a little bit, tweak some things here and there to make even a better version of yourself. So I wanted to know, what can we expect new from the Big Cat?
For sure. I'm just always improving. Every fight, I'm so lucky at my age to still be improving. I'm putting my punches in front of my takedowns. Everything. I've improved everywhere. I'm grappling with some serious grapplers right now. My jiu-jitsu game is on another level. I've been wrestling. My kickboxing's on point. My boxing's on point, and I'm putting it together better than I ever have in my life right now. Hats off to Josh Hill. He got the job done. What I learned from that fight is I don't always need to put a crazy pressure on. I can win small exchanges and back up a lot if I want. I can back up sometimes. I don't always have to put that pressure on, and that cost me that night. I circled left way too hard, got caught with a big overhand. All I had to do was work behind my jab, circle right all night, and that could have been a different fight. Just the main thing is learning from my mistakes. So, yeah, like you said, man, fuck, I'm coming off 2 losses. I need to get back in the winning circle, and MMA fans are great because you're only as good as your last fight, and after December 14th, I'm going to be a hero again, and I'm just going to keep working on myself, working on my skills, and get back in the winning circle.
Yeah, for sure. Like the Josh Hill fight, man, I guess you weren't doing that bad too. Like you were landing punches. I know he was kind of landing the power punches on you, but you were landing the volume. I guess if we add like some official stats to that fight, maybe you would have even outlanded him in that fight. So,
Oh, for sure, I was outlanding him. He hit me with a couple big right hands, and he chopped my bottom leg once or twice. I adapted to that. The thing is, I felt like he had no power. Don't get me wrong, he can hit hard, obviously, he put me out. But I did a cross elbow from out in the open, and I got caught in a weird position. At the same time, I got clotheslined by him and put down, pretty much knocked out twice in that fight. Again, I didn't need that crazy pressure, but like everything else in my life, I have to learn things the hard way sometimes, and my best quality is try and do that to me again. You know, I'll be a hard guy to put away like that again, and I'm happy for it. I'm happy for everything that happened, and this is my path, this is my journey, and I'm not done yet. Big Cat, hashtag not done yet.
So what's the end goal, man? What are you looking like? Maybe in 2 years from now, you've racked up like 4, 5, 6 wins. What's
like
the end
that.
goal? What's the end goal?
Well, who knows, man? I'm just gonna keep fighting. Look to get a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I know I can fight in a big promotion. I know I could fight overseas in ONE FC, maybe Brave. Hey man, Tristan Connolly, he got signed to the UFC on short notice. Anything can happen, man. I'm just gonna keep at it and work one fight at a time and stay positive and just keep giving her, man. Keep giving her.
Yeah, have you seen Josh Hill getting signed to Bellator?
Yeah, great for him, man. That's awesome. He'll have some tough fights there. I'm looking forward to watching him in action.
Yeah, for sure, man. That Bellator bantamweight division is becoming something else too, man.
Yeah,
With all
it's
these
stacked.
prospects coming in, I feel like Bellator, man, I don't feel like they're gonna like really compete with the UFC, because the UFC still got like 90% of the talent, but man, they've done a real good job signing like real young wrestlers that they knew that were gonna come into MMA, and I feel like they may have a better bank of prospects than the UFC at some moments, man.
Yeah, Bellator is legit, man. Everywhere right now, MMA is growing so much. ONE FC, Bibiano's no joke. Henry Cejudo, he's going to be tough to beat. Marlon Moraes, like, the list goes on. There's that new Russian Peter Yan guy in the UFC. It's stacked. The bantamweight division is stacked, but I'm not done yet. I'm going to grab a couple wins here, and I'll be back on track 100%.
Yeah, you were talking about getting that unified gold. Do you know, is there a champion in unified at your weight now?
For sure, there's Jamie Siraj.
Okay.
He was supposed to fight for the Rise FC belt there against Chad Allinger. Anytime there's a bantamweight fight, all the promoters are like, this is the biggest bantamweight fight in the country. Those guys are 25ers, first of all. Maybe Siraj is a 35er. He's all good. I talked to him. He's a good kid. He's tough. But yeah, my goals right now are get a win, showdown series, get another win, and then go for unified gold or excessive gold and just start collecting a few more belts, and then we'll see where I'm at next summer. I'll be 18 wins, 6 losses here in no time.
Yeah, for sure. So Siraj is a guy that you got on your radar, as I can see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Right now, I got to worry about Chris Johnson. The kid's 25 years old. He fights all tough guys. His record's not the greatest, but he's better than his record. He's dangerous. He fights wide-eyed. He goes for broke. I got to be smart with him, patient, pick him away, put him on the mat, and choke him out.
Yeah, for sure. Are we gonna see more grappling too? Because you kind of let your grappling go a little bit for your 2 past fights. We didn't get the chance like to see you grapple. We didn't go for much takedowns.
Sure. This kid should be pretty easy to get to the mat. You know, the thing was, again, not to dwell on it or go back, but I had hurt myself pretty bad. Fight morning versus Josh, and I had some success striking with him. I was like literally just settled into, and I was gonna try and beat him a 3-round decision, just pick apart out of. I was in no shape or condition to wrestle. Yeah, like I was saying, man, I was a little bit injured last fight. I didn't get a chance to get the wrestling done. Definitely look forward to me mixing up the wrestling in my next fights. And look, man, I've been sparring with crazy guys, good boxers, good MMA fighters. My chin is not weak by any means. I ran into those punches, and in fights, in my opinion, I was winning. I've never been beat up. No one's ever taken me, put me in the corner, and beat me up. So I still got a long career.
Yeah, for sure. And like you've been saying, the kid you're gonna fight is way better than his record. If you take him, like if you're not careful with a guy like this, man, he can do bad things. He's kind of good, for real. I've seen him fight. Yeah, I've seen him fight Mazota.
Yeah. He should be losing to these guys, and he's beating guys that are 11-4 and shit.
Yeah, no, I know, it's crazy. He did pretty good against Mazota, who's fighting in Bellator and doing good in that division, so... I
agree. And the kid's young. He's got nothing to lose. He's 25 years old.
Yeah, nah, he's kind of a kill or be killed guy, though. He's gotta go for it, and man, if you catch him, you're gonna finish him, but gotta be careful with people like that, too, man. Sometimes they're fucking crazy.
Yeah, for sure. He fights wide-eyed. He's like, fucking... And he's gonna be even more stressed because I'm not the easiest fight, right? He's gonna be just fucking terrified.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be a great one. And I heard today that there was gonna be another Jesse on that card, the body snatcher, man.
The body snatcher, fucking Khalees. I'm stoked on that.
For sure. How can you be not stoked? That guy's fucking crazy too, man.
Yeah, I love Jesse. It'll be nice because we'll both be up there together. We're both kind of dealing with the same things. We've been in the TKO locker room together a few times. It'll be a familiar face for a familiar battle.
Yeah, for sure. And he's gonna look forward to winning too, because he had two men. I was so bummed for him when he was fighting for the PFL. Like, they put him into the tournament. He had a real easy matchup, I felt like. And shit, this fucking guy just missed weight. So they're like, okay, so you fucking miss weight, the other fucking guy miss weight, so they're both disqualified. And Ronson, yeah. you're fighting Nathan Schultz, who like won last year and is probably gonna win that this year too.
Yeah, he got 2 bad draws there, and Jesse's in the same position I have. He hasn't got a win since September 2018. I haven't got a win since May 2018. We're both hunting for wins here.
Yeah, exactly. Didn't win since the Dufault fight, man. That was a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a good card, man.
What are you hearing about TKO? Just the same thing? Do you think they're gonna go January, February, March? That's gonna be hard to do.
I feel like they're probably gonna go maybe January and March. I don't know. I spoke with Stefan a little bit, but not about that, like especially. But I feel like 2 cards, but they did it this year though. They did, like, I feel like they did 47 and 48. It was pretty close. It was April and May.
Yeah.
So they're able to, but like many people have their deal just expired. Like you'll be gone. You'll be fighting elsewhere. I know Samuel Giga is willing to come back because he only fought, he only signed a 1-fight deal with BTC, but if shit goes well with BTC, he may have a big matchup there, so who knows. Got Terry Lemaire who's gonna be fighting for Canada in Singapore, so I don't know what's up with him too, but like I feel like many people, they've expired, they're going like to fight elsewhere, naturally, but like it's gonna be tougher to put 2 cards on in 2 months.
I wonder, have you spoke to Jourdain? What is he doing?
I spoke with Charles, not Louis. Louis is in love, man. He just got a new girlfriend and he's in love and he's not answering his phone, so I don't got any news about Louis.
Yeah, he's a good kid.
Yeah, they're cool.
In the preparation.
Yeah, they're cool. That would have been like a crazy, stupid fight, man.
I think so too.
That would have been something. But that old card, like, I was thinking about it yesterday, man. Like, TKO was probably the only organization in Canada who, like, they don't put on amateur fights. They always add like 12, 13 pro fights on the card,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. It's
And
good fights too.
and people
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
so people they've come used like to that standard, and every time it's like a little less. People they're I'm not gonna buy tickets. I'm not gonna. But fuck, man, if you go to like BTC events, sometimes they only put on pro fights, but they got 7 fights on the card or like 6 fights on the card.
Yeah, man, I fought all over Canada, and TKO they got it going on, man. They're on Fight Pass. The production's huge. It reminds me of a Bellator show almost, and I had a lot of fun there, man, and I'm just excited to get back in the winning circle here, that's all.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's gonna be important for you, and man, you're big up west. So why won't you fight west, man? That's
For sure, 100%, man. I'm excited. First time fighting in Alberta since I fought Johnny Bedford. I'm still 14-2 in my last 16 fights. I win here, and we're back on track, and it's a great opponent. I'm looking forward to the fight, and I've been just training. Haven't drank, haven't smoked, haven't done shit since the summertime. I'm ready for I'm ready to fight, man. I've been ready. I've been staying ready and getting ready for the last few months.
man, we're not on the same path, man. Fuck. Like I don't drink though. I don't drink at all. But like for Halloween, I was dressing up as Post Malone, so I had to like trim my beard and shit. So like I had to cut it some ways that I had to remove it all once I was done, because it would have like grown back, but like two different sizes. It would have been fucking like disgusting. So I had to shave it all. But now I'm looking at my fucking face, man, and I just feel like I'm fat, man. Because like when I've got a beard, like we don't see that I've got a double chin and shit. But now I'm just getting fat, man. I gotta stop eating.
Sorry, I'm just getting a picture there for one of my sponsors.
Yeah, no problem, man.
So what's up? We'll chat one more time before the fight.
Yeah, wow, of course, man, of course.
When you gonna put this up on your thing?
Yeah, Saturday. This Saturday.
Nice.
Cool.
Hey, straight up, big shout out to Quebec, to Montreal, to TKO. Like, I've made some good friends, some good memories, and nothing but respect and nothing but love. And I straight up hope Stefan gets better and everything continues, because that's one hell of a promotion, and I had one hell of a blast out there. You guys got crazy fans, and it was a good time.
Yeah, for sure, man. The only thing like that I don't like about you fighting West is that I won't fucking see you anymore. That sucks.
I know, but hey, if I can figure something out with Petray, and I'll fight Jourdain, but I want a one fight deal, and I got some pull with him. I could see me still fighting out there for sure.
Yeah, that would be awesome, man. Before I let you go, just wanted to know your opinion, because I've seen it on Facebook, Twitter, and shit. You had shit to say about the BMF fight. So what's up? What do you have to say about the BMF fight?
I agreed with that. MMA fans are a little bit delusional. I think nothing was going to happen more. Diaz probably would have held on and probably got finished. Not finished, but he probably would have lost the decision. But I think he would have got pummeled the same in the 4th and 5th round. He wasn't even in that fight at all. Diaz is a warrior. He's so hard to finish. Like, he just sat down when he got liver kicked. Like, he called Masvidal on. But Jorge Masvidal come into his own. He deserves everything he's getting right now, and I think he's one of the top welterweights in the division.
Yeah, for sure. The only thing I find shitty about the stoppage is that, like, to be honest, I don't feel like the cut got worse. So if you were gonna stop that fight because of that cut, should have fucking stopped it in the first round.
100%. 100%.
And I feel like you're right that nothing different would have happened in that fight. We saw that.
I don't think he would have finished him though. Diaz. Is
No,
tough.
exactly. I just wanted to see the two other rounds because it was an amazing fight, man.
Oh, it was
I just
good.
like it was only for my personal pleasure. I didn't give a fuck about like if Diaz was gonna come back or if like he was probably not gonna come back. At best, he was winning one of these 2 rounds. At best. But
I
like,
got my big bear dog right here.
yeah, man, he's so beautiful. One of my friends just like he just bought a cane corso.
Yeah, they're awesome.
He doesn't have it now. He's gonna have it like because I think the dog's like weeks old, so
Yeah.
he's waiting for him to be like a month or 2 months old. But he's gonna have him soon. Can't wait.
What's your Instagram?
Faber Glass.
And what's what's your thing? MMA talk?
It's the MMA Talk. THE MMA Talk. All together.
On Instagram?
Yeah.
Send me a message on Instagram from that when we get off.
Cool.
Okay, buddy.
Yes, I thank you, man. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Always a pleasure, man.
December 13th, Big Cat's back, baby.
Of
Thank
course,
you, man.
and man, we'll get anytime you want to come in, man. You've got a free pass for the podcast, so just fucking text me and I'll get you on.
Okay, Faber, much love, brother.
Thank you, man.